paradise enjoying the music after the man sitting at the table known as MINUSCO was shot dead by an unknown assailant. Perry Mason went out for the chase after revealing himself to the gunman that he was FBI. And during the chase, a few shots were fired where Perry was able to kill the assailant outside of the Smalls Paradise. Meanwhile, inside, Ursula and Jesse witnessed MINUSCO making his way out of the building. Not sure how this happened, but a dead man should not rise in the manner that they did, and they went outside. Chaos ensured both inside the Smalls Paradise and outside once the dead MINUSCO made his way out and causing mayhem on the streets. Police and investigators come in to question everybody, including our investigators, where they gave their various statements and were introduced to Agent Roger Daniels. It was not long after this that they were all allowed to go on with their business, but to stay in town. And towards the end of the night, they see Leroy Turner stumbling out of Smalls Paradise and running past them and up around the corner, kind of bumping himself as he turned the corner. Our investigators went over to look and discovered a card on the floor for a funeral home and a time, 11 a.m. It was at this point the investigators started putting together what has happened throughout the night and decided that the few leads that they've got, including maybe going to the African American neighborhoods to find out more information, was decided on, as well as meeting up at a local coffee shop the following morning. So for brevity's sake, we will say that everybody has woken up, it's gone through their morning routines and have met at the coffee shop. You're all seated. You've got your breakfast, you got your morning coffee, tea, whatever it is that you have to drink. And I will turn it over to you guys to go from here. So what do you do?
Would there have been like newspaper stands? Because I feel like Jesse would be paranoid and be looking at the newspaper stands to see if any news of this event last night was aired out.
Yeah, absolutely. You would have passed, the paper boy, whatnot, on the little soapbox, yelling out, "Morning news, paper, shooting at Smalls Paradise."
So Jesse's just wearing this a similar plain colored outfit that's cleaner, and she's gonna wave for Ursula and Perry. Did you guys hear about the paper? Just said it was a shooting, nothing else really.
Yeah, I've got it right here, and I've read it, and yeah, it's pretty much what happened last night, except for they kind of left out the whole dead person walking around. So that didn't make it into the paper, which is probably a good thing because a lot of people would be going a little bit Oh, I don't know if they'd be upset about it, really.
Well, I
they'd
mean,
yeah, it's just news.
and Ursula would pipe up and be like, well, they wouldn't want to spread mass hysteria to the masses by releasing some type of information like that.
Makes me wonder how much else we don't know about this, out there in the world. We're gonna. So what's our plan today? Are we going to the funeral home together, or we questioning Mr. Mason?
Before
Right.
you guys carry on with your conversation, the paper also mentions that the police think uh, uh, that he was a criminal foe. The mayor's office has announced the padlocking of Small's Paradise, offering thanks that such a cesspool of vice and crime have been located. There's also mention that government agent Roger Daniels testifies that Small's Paradise was selling alcohol. Daniel manages to get his picture in most of the dailies. The manager of the club, Mr. Roland Marlowe, is arraigned on various petty charges and is quietly released on bail.
Oh, okay. That's all pretty good news. They think it was just a gang shooting. So, yeah, I guess we're going to the funeral home from here. Does anyone know where that is?
Wasn't the address on the back of the card?
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it's at 170, 172nd and East Charlton Street, but I'm not from here, so don't know where that is.
Oh, well, I can. We can. We can walk over there if you like. I would.
I'm just happy that they're using this prohibition stuff that we're going through right now. I'm just glad that they're using that as a cover up and none of our names was mentioned, she said, like brushing
Oh,
her hair.
that's right. They didn't mention any of us. That's good. And we were at the same table. Hopefully, we never have to see that man again.
Well, they didn't mention all the patrons that were there that night anyway, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, okay, let's finish up and go because we've got to be there we've got to be there before 11.
What time is it now?
Well, we would say if you got up early, you were going to meet there at 8, 9. So you still got plenty of time. Perry, you picked up a newspaper, right? Where did you
Yeah.
get that from?
From the paper boy outside.
Yep, from the newsstand. Yep.
Yeah, kind of like reading the main lines, and then if I see something interesting, read further. Yeah, just something to read while you're eating. You're never really concentrating on a paper when you're eating.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're flicking through the paper, you also will go, into the various pages and get towards the back where there's the like the the birthday wishes and all that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
that's one thing. I'd look at the funerals and see who's being buried today.
Yeah, you see a very, very small advert regarding Morgan and Dupree funeral homes. you'll see that there's a funeral and a procession are scheduled for 11 a.m. today for Frederick Lincoln Fayette, the brother-in-law of Paradise Orchestra's leader, Mr. Charles Johnson, which you guys would remember he was the band leader at Small's Paradise.
Do you read this out loud, Harry?
Yes. And then I'll also go like, that's interesting that the band leaders. Yeah. Okay. Maybe just coincidence.
Sure is a small world, isn't it? Well, are we going to be talking to him when we go over there, or
Who?
anybody?
I'm more there to try to find this guy that has the funny horn. You know, the trumpet that, seems to have the
Leroy.
ability to, bring people back to life.
Do you think Leroy would be at the funeral home or would he be at this funeral?
I think he's got a gig to play in the procession.
Yeah, the cards and New Orleans style. So don't they do all the music as they march down to the funeral? I think they do.
Yeah, they do. He kind of creeps me out. I don't want to talk to him anymore. She would make it look kind of disgusting face as she says that.
That's why we have a Detective Mason.
If he doesn't drink on the way over, she says under her breath.
For those who read the business card, which I think all of you did, you do recall on the back of the excuse me, on the back of the card, it said bring your horn. So it's kind of suggesting that Leroy is going to be there with his trumpet.
I stand up and dust off my skirts. Well, y'all
What
ready?
time did that say he was being buried?
11, I think.
Yeah, the funeral's at 11, so the procession will probably be maybe 30 minutes later, depending on how long the church thingo is.
We don't have time to go to the funeral home and the funeral procession at the same time.
Well, I think it's going from the funeral home. I don't know.
Okay, let's go.
Lead the way, young lady.
I feel like I don't feel like we should follow you, Barry.
Okay, you can follow me, but I'm not going to take you anywhere because I'm not from here. I don't know where I'm going.
That's right. Sorry. I lead the way.
I mean, just say there are taxis and stuff around. It's not like it's a place that you don't have to walk around all the time. It's all horse and cart.
Jessie is a bit hungover from the orange juice, so she's not really thinking.
Let's just get a taxi. I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. Let's go.
We get a taxi, we go.
All right. So as you leave, I guess that you're all getting up together and walking out. Jesse, you're getting a lot of side-eyed looks from a lot of the Caucasian gentlemen and ladies in the coffee shop, you know, and obviously you know that they are whispering and mumbling under their breath about a coloured lady with two other Caucasian people, and it's kind of like, why is she with her, and that sort of thing. And you kind of get the similar look when you start to get into the taxi as well. The taxi driver turns to Perry and says, "So, where are you off to, eh?"
Off to Morgan and Depot Christian Funeral Home. You know where that is?
No worries. So he drops you off, and getting around about, you know, around about the time it's going to start, but you're seeing a lot of people starting to go towards the funeral home. And what, as you're driving, the taxi drivers sort of let you know it's one of those funeral homes those of other races can find whatever welcome they deserve. Curiosity seekers are snubbed. Rowdy gate crashers are threatened and expelled. Those extending genuine sympathies are appreciated, and the bereaved are consoled. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of people starting to go into the funeral home. The taxi driver probably, you know, stops and lets you out. Maybe, I don't know, you know, close by, so it's easily within, you know, quite easy walking distance. You don't have to walk too far away. So I'll leave it up to you. What do you guys do after the taxi drops you off?
Start looking for what, Jay?
Leroy Turner.
Leroy.
People look like they're getting kind of chewed off. Maybe, and I'll reach in and I take some handkerchiefs. And I pass one to Perry, and I pass one to Ursula. Like maybe if we are bereavers of the brother-in-law here, we could get closer.
I blow my nose with the tissue. Go, thank you for that, and proceed to start looking for Leroy.
You can keep that.
I'll take the tissue she gives me, and I'll lean over to her and be like, should I be dramatic, or should we just, like, be upset?
Oh, I mean, do what you feel, you know?
Because I could be dramatic and cause a distraction, and then you guys can run in really fast.
I don't know. Do you see Leroy? And I'm looking around for Leroy in the crowd.
So you've actually entered the building?
Not yet. Perry has gone on in, apparently.
I am entering the building.
Perry has already entered.
I'm standing there talking with Ursula outside, so we'll probably be going in. But I'm looking around outside for Leroy first, like seeing if he's not arrived yet and going in.
Okay, so before I make you guys do a roll, those who are going in, you're welcomed at the door by a couple of African American gentlemen. Jesse, you don't really have too many problems. Like, they kind of let you kind of go in with no issues. But they look at Perry and Ursula, and it's kind of like they're looking at you up and down, and they kind of got a quizzical look. But you are asked, by one of the gentlemen, are you here to extend your sympathies today?
Yes.
And he kind of they look towards Ursula as well.
Yeah, sympathy, she says, rolling your eyes a little bit.
They let you in, but the other gentleman says, just don't cause any troubles and we won't need to do anything. And they let you in. And as you're all entering in, you're starting to see that the remembrance service is kind of has already started, and you're there for the whole service itself. It's very, very sad time. Obviously, there's a lot of wailing and a lot of weeping from a lot of the ladies within the building. You can see Charlie. He's up, kind of up the front, and he's looking very distraught and very saddened by, obviously, because this is his brother-in-law. Jesse, that your communities of the African American communities are very, very tight knit and close. So it's like everybody is literally family. But yes, anybody who wants to try and find Leroy, give me a spot hidden roll, please.
My thing says game paused.
Oh, well, yeah, but you should be able to still roll.
Okay.
You just can't move. Here.
Yep, I got it.
Oof. Oh, no.
So you can push your luck if you wish, Ursula, or your sympathies don't really, you're not really.
I'm out of sympathy for today.
Yeah, you're not really focused on the task, really. You clearly do not want to be here. This is kind of, for someone of your, esteem and stature, this is kind of beneath you. Like it's not like if you've ever been to a funeral for Ursula, it's in a more pristine environment. It's like a proper church kind of thing. So
Yeah.
like being here for you, you kind of like you feel this is completely beneath you. So yeah, you don't see Leroy at all. Perry with the hard success, you spot Leroy first before Jesse. Leroy is not too far. He's in the pew behind Charlie. You can kind of see his physique, and you kind of, while it's amongst the crowd, it's difficult to see. He is kind of looking around himself, and as he turns around, that's the moment where you spot him. It doesn't appear that he's made eye contact with you. You just recognize him from the facial features being as close as you guys were to him at the night of Small's Paradise.
So does he have the trumpet with him, like in his hand, or is it kind of?
All right, I'm going to say if you're going to try and see if he's got the trumpet, you're either going to have to move yourself into a closer position, or if you're going to try and look for it from where you're standing, you're probably going to need at least a hard success.
All right. I'll roll again. My spot hidden.
Yeah, the first roll was mainly for you to see him through the crowd.
No, I didn't see it. I just got a regular success. All right. So, yeah, I know where he is, and I'll point him out to the other two. And I say, I don't know if he's got the trumpet on him or not, but at the same time, I'm kind of tempted to let him play it to see if it was the trumpet that did it or it was something else.
You want to let him play the trumpet again after what we witnessed last night? And she gets a little bit louder, but I
Oh,
don't know how that's going to affect anything.
Well, it's a scientific method. You know, I'm not 100% sure that it was the trumpet. Could have been the song. Could have been something else.
I will be running distraction to keep their words down and be like, "Oh Lord, he was a trumpeter of God's message. May his music live on for all of us in his beautiful words." And try to kind of disguise what they're saying because they're getting louder, apparently.
Well, I guess it's depending on how, like, as you're talking, are you talking like normal voices? Are you talking in a low tone? Because don't forget, there is a service running at this time. So there are obviously the preacher that's there, and they're talking. Obviously, people are coming up and telling their stories about the deceased. So it's depending on what volume you guys are talking about this amongst yourselves compared to what other people are going to hear or actually pick up on.
I'm going off. This is like a southern kind of service where there would be a lot of wailing. So I will mimic what they're doing and try to like disguise the words that they're using.
Okay.
Southern funerals are dramatic.
They
I'm
are.
sorry.
They
I
go
got out of there
nuts.
like out of context. Like
Lord.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to make you roll for that. But yeah, okay. Jesse just kind of joins in with the wailing and stuff like that. And obviously, there's a few people that, look in your general direction and through the crowd again, because there is a lot of people here. It's going to be hard for them to determine whether you're faking this or not. So I'm just going to say you're putting on an act and you're doing pretty well with it. So it's at this point the service is coming towards an end. The preacher stands up and now we will have our procession to his final resting place, and you see 6 pallbearers emerge to take their positions towards the coffin. People start to move out of the funeral home and onto the streets on both sides. Do you guys first of all follow, or do you stay where you are?
I think we should try to like integrate into the crowd and mix in, but Perry, you need to keep eyes on him.
No offense, but you two stick out like two sore thumbs in this crowd. So maybe pretend you're a couple or something together, brother and sister, something married. I mean, I'll just fine. But they're gonna probably walk in March while the music's playing. So just weave You got this. And I'm going to go on the other side of the street. So that
I'm not pretending to.
I'm not pretending to be anything towards you at all.
Okay, we're good. We got this.
Right, so I'm assuming that because he's a part of the music group, they're normally at the front, so he would have already left before the rest of everyone else. So I'll be trying to keep my eye on him, but at the same time, not trying to draw attention towards myself.
Sure.
I just want to find like a group that I can kind of like just sneak into somewhere, and like if that's possible, if I need to roll or whatever.
Look, to be in this scenario, if you're just going to go out onto the street and just be part of the crowd, this is not an unusual event that happens in Harlem. These kind of processions, they've literally blocked off the streets for this to happen. You see in the crowd along the streets, you see like the street is full. Like in a sense, this is like a spectacular of sorts, and people either are there to show their respect for the dead, or they're just to witness the procession itself and how it happens. So, in terms of just blending in, Ursula, you'll have no problem with that. You just, find yourself wherever you want to be within the street. Same with Jesse, if you're doing the same. You guys easily blend in, no problems. Perry, for you, you see that the pallbearers pick up the long pine coffin and they exit out of a door, and you if you're not going to follow them, you're going to assume it's going to lead them out through a back way out into the street. You also see several members of the band that you saw at Small's Paradise, the Charlie Johnson's Paradise Orchestra, including Leroy, follow behind the pallbearers through the same door.
Yeah, no, I'd exit out the main door because if I followed them out the back door, that would kind of be very, point out that I'm not meant to be there.
Yeah. No worries. Again, if you're going to go out into the street, similar to Ursula, you will easily blend in, no problems with the amount of people that are there. So you're probably all waiting, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes in the street. And then you see probably from the street, you see two motorcycles come out of a side alley very, very slowly. Their lights are on. And then following behind them are the 6 pallbearers as they emerge from the side hall as well. You all can see that they're carrying the long pine coffin. From your positions, you can't quite see the policemen themselves, as in their physical features, and they lead the way, and you can see that they're controlling traffic at the intersection. So basically, they're there to ensure that this procession doesn't cause any problems for the pallbearers themselves, but obviously as well as for other traffic because there's still traffic moving along these intersections along the way. Moments later, you see members of the orchestra that you all now recognize, and you see Charlie out the front of the pallbearers. So probably a few meters, few yards in front, just to make sure that he's not causing any trip ups. Next to him is Leroy, and then sort of spread to the sides of the other pallbearers are other members of the band. And the moment the procession starts moving towards the street, you hear the band strike up a tune. You all recognize this as a song called "I'll See You on Judgment Day." And following behind the pallbearers and the band as they're moving down the street, you see the mourners of the immediate family. As the procession continues to move down through the streets of Harlem towards the cemetery, you see more and more people join in on the procession. You guys kind of obviously wanting to keep your eye on Leroy, so you kind of move yourselves down as the procession moves on. Again, don't really need to make any rolls because you kind of again, this is not an unusual thing, so people they're either joining in the procession or they're just trying to make their way through the crowd to get to wherever they need to go. The orchestra plays very slow and soulful renditions of Hymn After Hymn. The musicians walk in a line, as I mentioned before, with Charlie Johnson again at the head. You see that the drummer itself is towards the rear and his bass drum strapped to his chest, and they all maintain a serious and noble bearing as they are moving down towards the streets. After passing several storefronts, Jesse, Ursula, Perry, you, for some reason, you have this unnerving feeling that you are being watched. I want you all to roll a spot hidden.
Ooh.
That was a lot better than last time.
Nice. Ursula, again, you get to see it first. You swear that Leroy was looking right at you just as he was finishing off a cigarette. But you also notice that Leroy is also kind of looking around, kind of a little bit nervously, as if the sense that someone else is watching. And then he extinguishes his cigarette. He finally gets a nod from Charlie, and he lifts up his trumpet, which you all can see. The band strikes up the tune "Closer Walk with Thee," and Leroy puts the horn to his lips and starts to blow a very melancholy sound, the notes in fine counterpoint to Charlie's cornet that he is playing. A rolling murmur through the crowd intensifies to the music's beauty. But not 20, 30 seconds into the tune, can you all roll a listen roll?
Oh shit. Oh no.
No one.
We don't.
I want to roll
Yeah.
again.
You gotta make a reason why. First,
Yep.
I would roll again.
Yeah.
To push
so
it.
if you want
Okay.
to, yeah. So if you want to re-roll, it's kind of like you have to sort of tell the storyteller what it is that you're trying to do to go. Well, I failed my road, but I'm really wanting to pass this. So you're gonna kind of sort of like explain what it is that you're trying to do.
Okay, so I'm just freaking out at this moment. Like, Ursula's like, I know there's something going on. There's something with this music. There's something eerie here. I don't like it. I know there is something going on with this music or the trumpet or something. And she's just going to be like freaking out. That's why I
Okay.
feel like she should roll again.
No, that's I like it. I like it. So yeah, roll again.
Oh no.
It's better than nothing. I'll take it.
Obviously, the music has got you all in a trance. The crowd and the murmur, the low hum of the motorcycles. You're not seeing anything, but maybe another 10 seconds rolls on, and there's kind of a look amongst the pallbearers that something is wrong. And two of the guys just kind of just freak out when the coffin lid opens up. They all drop the coffin. And you see, kind of with flailing arms, the body of Frederick Fayette, kind of again standing up and starting to make his way out of the coffin. Startled, they all look at each other in confusion and alarm. The crowd gasps as the music dies. And then suddenly, as the pallbearers drop their burden and pull back, the horrific sight triggers shrieks and screams and general cries of astonishment from onlookers. I need you all to roll sanity. Nice.
No.
Okay, Ursula, I need you. Okay, so with this sight, Perry, this is the first time you've seen this. Jesse, this is the second time you've seen this, but you both lose one sanity point. Ursula, I need you to roll 1d6 for me, please. Here we go. Ooh, 5. Okay. So you lose 5 sanity points.
Is that a
And because you've lost 5 sanity points in one instance, there's a possibility for you to go into what's called temporary insanity. So first of all, you need to roll an intelligence roll.
Okay, that would take my sanity down to 39 because it was at 44. I already put that in.
Okay. You are you fully comprehend that what you witnessed last night at Small's Paradise, and now the dead is returning to life. Unfortunately, because you've come to this realization, you're going to go insane, provoking a bout of madness. Can you roll 1d10?
Ooh.
Okay. So for the next 7 hours, you take the form, like basically you just like everything that has been happening to you since you've been here, you've literally had enough. Like your body is going like, I don't want to be like, the cards told me to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be with these people. I don't want to be in Harlem anymore. I witnessed 2 guys now raising the dead from music playing. I don't get what happens, and you faint from basically just the emotion, everything going on. It's just too much for your body to continue, and you faint.
Do we see her faint? Do I need to roll
I would say you both need to roll spot hidden for this, because
crowd?
you're all focused on the events that are happening, and I'm assuming that you all were either close by or you went into separate areas. Jesse, yeah, not a clue. Perry, yeah, you just see like a lot of people just turn in one direction and they start pointing that someone has, someone's fallen. So you can hear that.
Where is she compared to where I am? Is she like close by or a distance away?
I would say you would have to, because you stayed in the building and you walked out, you were not 100% sure where both Jesse and Ursula were located. So to get to that location, it won't take you long. You would have to move through the crowd, which at this point, it's getting a little bit difficult again because there's a dead body rising. The crowd's already in hysterics, and now Ursula's fallen down. So if you're going to get there, I would say it will probably take you maybe a round or two to at least get to her.
Dude, it's your duty as a citizen of the law.
If you let me get trampled, I'm never doing tabletop with you.
She's
ever
gonna
again.
raise from the dead and kick your ass.
Yeah, all right, I'll go over to like check on her, but at the same time trying to keep an eye on where the That's the other thing. Is the song the same that was played last night? Because I would have heard the trumpet being played last night.
It's a completely different song. The song that was played at the time when MONUSCO rose was called Deadman Stomp. Charlie introduced the song as part of his little speech at the Swallows Paradise. The song that was playing at the time that Fayette's body rose was a song called Closer Walk with Thee.
All right, so that narrows it down. It's not the song, it's the trumpet being played. All right, cool. But I'll still try to go save the one that has fallen. Once I get to her, I'd pull her out of the way and, like do the light slaps on the face to try to wake her up, bring her back to consciousness.
Yep, no worries. You get there. I'm not going to make you roll for this. I'm going to make it you're easily able to, pick her up and move her to out of the way, away from the crowds and whatnot. You don't see any blood or anything like that on the pavement. So she fainted, but she hasn't really hit her head too hard to cause any like crack the skull or anything like that. You kind of do what you need to do to try and wake her up. After a after a few attempts and few moments, Ursula, you start coming to. But the moment you come to, you're kind of like opening your eyes, and kind of like adjusting to the light. The first thing you see is Perry. But the second thing you see behind him, you're not quite sure. It's definitely a figure. But it doesn't look like a solid figure. Like, it's not like Perry where you can see him in a full human form. It looks sort of ghostly, apparitions, and then it's gone.
She would open her eyes and see the figure, and I think I would just start yelling get off me, get away, what is that, get away, get off me, and you can tell she's just had enough at this point, get off me, get away, she's just babbling to herself nonsense at this point.
Right, so I'd step back and go, well, you're awake now, and start heading after the trumpet.
I will not have seen any of this, and I will head look for Leroy or the band leader, because I'm not sure.
Okay, so for you, Ursula, for the next 7 hours, you are going to feel or suffer from delusions of hallucinations, believing that you can see dead people where there are none. So during the rest of up until the next 7 hours game time, not as in real time, but in game time for the session, you need to role play out this insanity delusion that you are suffering from.
That's no issue. I'm certifiably crazy.
Jesse, you witness what you can only guess as the wife of Freddy. She steps in front of the coffin of her dead husband and lifts her mourning veil. You can see that her cheeks are wet with tears, and looking directly at Freddy. At this point, Perry, you've probably now have stand up and you're looking towards the same scene. Ursula, if you're standing up, you will also be seeing this happening as well. But Jesse, since you're a little bit closer, you can hear the widow say, "Freddy, is that you?" And you all see Freddy stop and looking her in shock. And there's like a realization of the situation on his face. And then he throws back his head and pulls out like this horrific, terrible scream. He collapses at the feet of his wife, trembling arms wrapped around her legs, and then stops moving. And as time goes on a little bit, he's still not moving. Clamor starts to sweep around the crowd, and anger starts to spark towards the mortician, Mr. Dupree, and his two assistants, who also at this time accompanying the procession. And you start hearing from the crowd, "Very Very And this is where you guys are stuck in this situation. What do you guys do?
Well, that's a lot to take in. That's what I'll figure out
I'd
later.
be doing the same thing. I'd be watching this happen, and if I hear that the trumpet has stopped at the same time that this guy has curled over again, yeah.
Basically, I want to leave what I know to a dice roll.
No, I'm not gonna dice roll. Not needed. It's your understanding that the moment the coffin dropped and the crowd started to react, the music stopped.
So that's pretty much cemented it in my mind. It is that trumpet.
I'm gonna try to talk to the group, but I'm still in this like delirious state. And I'm gonna be like, the dead, the dead, the dead are coming, the dead are coming, the dead, the dead. And like, I'm just going to be babbling, and I'm going to grab Jesse's arm or try to reach out and grab her arm and be like, the dead, the dead, the dead. And
I'm gonna I'll be like, it's okay, Ursula. Perry, do you have some of a flask of your coffee or anything hidden?
No.
And then I'm just gonna slap her with my pocket Bible.
ow, she'll say, and then she'll like just still be shaking and like,
Look, she's just been through a pretty interesting ordeal. I think, yeah, she's a couple of bottles short of a six-pack.
you would know all about bottles and six packs.
What's a
wouldn't you?
6-pack?
6 bottles together makes a six-pack of something.
Oh, I thought it was like your abdomen. Okay, we
More
gotta
of a
go.
big-
We gotta go. We gotta find Leroy.
Roll spot hidden.
All of us or just Jesse?
Anyone who's looking for Leroy.
Okay.
Whew. Oh.
I mean, it makes sense. Ursula, you're still seeing things that you think are not there. So yeah, you're completely distracted by everything that is going on. Jesse and Perry, you see Leroy. Excuse me. You see Leroy looking towards a particular building, and within moments of that, you also with that hard success for both of you, you also see a Caucasian man dressed in a brown suit. The moment that you guys sort of spot him, he backs away very quickly in a brisk walk towards a waiting grey Packard. And Leroy starting to turn and move in the opposite direction down one of the side streets.
I'm still holding, touching Ursula's shoulder. Do we want to split up or do we want to? Perry, you see him and you see him?
So wait a minute. Leroy's heading towards the Packard, or he's heading towards the road that it's on?
He's gone in the opposite direction where the guy's gone to the Packard. So he did literally a complete 180 and is sort of starting to walk down one of the side streets.
Can I see the plate on the Packard?
It's too far away, so you would probably need to move a little bit closer towards the Packard to try and see if there are any plates.
Yeah, no. I'll be going after Leroy because, yeah, I'll be going after him.
I'm going to take Ursula by the arm a little bit and kind of push my way through the crowd and follow.
I would like unresistantly go with her. I can't think of the word.
Okay. So yes, you all see Leroy started walking away, sort of a brisk walk himself, down towards the side street, making his way through the crowd, clearly holding very, very, very closely to his person, the trumpet. So it's up to you. Obviously, also don't forget that Perry and Jesse, you saw a figure in a suit walking towards a nearby Packard, which is kind of like a van truck of that era. Yeah. So I'll leave it to you.
Who's closer to Jesse, the Packard or Leroy round in the corner?
I'm going to say, for the sake of brevity, you guys are sort of caught in the middle, so it's kind of like you make a decision either way.
I think we should go after Leroy in the trumpet.
That is the most sane thing you've said all day.
It's that damn trumpet's fault that this is happening to me.
I mean, it could be the music altogether. We don't. I mean, you think it's the trumpet? It is kind of odd looking.
Two different songs cause the exact same effect. So it's not the song. So it's got to be the trumpet.
It's a music, it's
Or
a
the
trumpet.
person.
I don't know what it is, but it's something. Let's go get it.
Do you see that,
Or something else that he's got on his person.
Mr. Mason? Does that man in the Packard? Does he look like a police officer or detective that you know of?
No, not that I know. From the distance that we're at, I can't really make him out that well. So I don't know.
Look, the police are going to be showing up soon. We done got caught with a dead body last night. We don't need to be around here when they show up again. Let's go.
She does have a pretty good point. Let's get the hell out of here. Actually, no. Look, I'm going after Leroy. Yeah.
Following you, Mr. Mason, and I'm grabbing hold of Ursula gently by the elbow.
All right, so you follow through the crowd and you walk down the side street that Leroy also headed down. You'll probably go maybe, I don't know, a building or two, and you kind of hear a little bit of sort of weeping coming from nearby. You're around the corner and you see Leroy sort of sitting down, kind of rocking back and forth. He's got a little flask in his hand and, downing that. And he's sort of kind of mumbling to himself and shaking his head. Again, the trumpet is, you can see he's got the trumpet and it's like very close to him kind of thing. But yeah, from what you can all see, he is very distraught. Like for him, he's coming to terms in himself that he's now seen two people, or essentially now that twice he has seen the dead reawaken in a very unusual way, and he's trying to come to terms with all of this. So I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why is this happening? Why is this happening?
Mr. Turner, uh, do you know what's going on here? You okay? I'll say to Leroy.
And he looks up at all of you and he recognizes you. He this time he doesn't get up to run away, but he just simply indicates his flask and he turns it upside down and shakes it to show that it's empty.
Great, another drunk,
Pe-
she says.
Perry, you want to give him some refill, something?
I don't carry it.
Leroy will simply say, I know a speakeasy that's close by.
Well, okay. We would like to talk to you. Maybe there, maybe not in this alley.
You buy
Is-
me a drink, I will talk.
Okay.
Is the trumpet just sitting there, or is it like in its case?
He's holding it like it's like close to his person, as in like very, very something that he's not willing to let go. He's protecting it with everything that he's got.
Mr. Mason would be happy to buy you a drink.
Yeah, sure, no worries. The only thing I ask is you don't play that trumpet again.
He sort of looks at you and like slowly gets up and leads you guys to away from the crowds towards into a different neighborhood, and just a few twists and turns here and there, a couple of buildings, and you go into this speakeasy. Again, there's a mix of all denominations here, so you guys don't get any unusual looks. It's basically we're all here for a drink kind of thing. You're not going to get into too much trouble. You may get the few odd look here and there, but that's probably about as much as you get. And you sit down at a table, and as you're sitting down, Leroy's just sort of still kind of he's basically looking down like towards the ground, and he just goes, I've been playing the trumpet for 10 years. Ain't nothing happened like this before. Yeah, I don't get it. And then he sort of just, again, starts kind of mumbling towards himself.
Jesse would say, uh, well, maybe, how did you happen to know Louis Armstrong in that he gave you this trumpet out of the blue? Like, are you friends with him, or, I mean, maybe there's something special.
How are you saying this towards Leroy, Jesse?
Kindly? With my hand on his hand, not throat, digger.
I mean, he looks at you, and because of the kinship, and you're both of the same, African American descent. Says, I don't know him personally, but a few days before, I was playing with a scratch band, and I went outside for a smoke and a drink, and then Mr. Armstrong himself approached me in the alleyway, and he said to me, "You're such a good player, Leroy, that I want you to have one of my horns." And there, he gave you the trumpet on the spot. I couldn't believe my luck. And I wasn't going to say no to Mr. Armstrong. Who would? This is the great Satchmo.
Are you, I mean, come on. I mean, Leroy. Are you sure it was, I mean, how much have you had to drink? That sounds a bit odd. Mr. Mason, doesn't that sound like
Yeah, that doesn't seem.
giving away horns? I mean, you are very good.
If you're
Not
questioning
good enough
Leroy's
for what we
story,
are.
you can all roll a psychology roll.
I roll the bullshit. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Hey, we got the same roll.
Super past that.
Ursula, with your extreme success, you can see that Leroy's actually being sincere in everything that he is saying. He's not like he's as he's speaking, he's talking directly to Jessie the whole time. His eyes haven't left her gaze. Like normally you've seen him like looking around skittishly, very nervously, someone that, from someone who's fallen on hard times. His story sounds very, very sincere, but you do get the impression that he is holding something back. Like he's telling you this, like the truth, but you're not getting everything from the story, particularly at the mention of Louis Armstrong.
You muted,
You're
Kitty?
muted.
I'm gonna reach into the pocket of the dress I have on and pull out my tarot cards and show them to him, and I'm gonna be like, "Do you know what these are?"
He looks at, like, turns towards you and looking at the card. Is there a particular card that you've pulled out, or is it just a random one?
No, just like the deck. Just I'll have the deck in
Yep.
my hand.
Oh, yeah. That's the tarot cards. We have there's a lady in my neighborhood. She does those all the time for people.
So you know that if I go back to my room tonight, ask these cards if you are being honest with me, they will tell me the truth, she says. And she's very like kind of like buffing herself up to make herself look more intimidating. Like she wants to be intimidating.
Ooh. Intimidation.
Yeah. So how? Yeah. Okay. So you sort of are you trying to? Yeah. Are you trying to intimidate or kind of persuade?
More persuade, I guess. Like instead of intimidate, like she's more like these cards will tell me the truth. Like you need to tell me the truth, or these cards. I guess that would be intimidate though, instead of persuade. So yeah, intimidate. I'm gonna stick with intimidate.
Okay. What I will do then is whichever of the two is your higher roll, roll that.
Okay.
Jesse seeing the cars of the devil is gonna lean back a little away from them.
Intimidates higher, so
He gets the feeling that you're trying to put heat onto him, and he kind of, like, you still know he's not gonna like, he's still holding back, but the fact that you mention those, the cards and what you can do with those cards, I'm gonna say in his current state of mind, he's gonna roll this with a negative bonus dice. Okay. So even like your intimidation, well, your tactic didn't go according to plan. The fact that you mentioned that you know that if I go back to these cards and ask them the question that I'll be told the truth, he knows from the old woman in his neighborhood that does the same thing, that he's heard the same thing. And he just turns around and he simply says, what are you asking?
I don't believe that you're being honest about where not on let me backtrack. I don't believe that you're being completely honest about the intentions on why you got this trumpet.
There was no intention. Mr. Armstrong just simply gave me his horn. That was it. I had no intentions of taking it from him. He's just given it to me. And you can't say no to Mr. Armstrong.
But
It's a trumpet.
why would someone famous give someone like you a trumpet?
why would someone give you the ability to read those cards?
I mean, I think you know why I have the ability. And she flips her hair and lets that Perry kind of like, okay, your turn.
Because I'm good at what I do too, ma'am.
Can you show me the trumpet? This little peek.
He again looks at you and he puts the trumpet on the table. He still leaves a hand on it as to, make sure that no one's going to try and grab and run off with it. But again, you see the three valves. Well, sorry, you see the four valves, not the usual three. You clearly can see again the silver finish that is cracked. You run your hand over it. It's kind of like snake or alligator crocodile hide. And inside the bell, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been um uh, Alex that saw it first. That you see inside the bell, there's an encircling ring of strange symbols that are etched into the metal. As you are looking over it, Leroy turns towards Ursula and he said, and he says, there was one real strange thing about Mr. Armstrong, and maybe it was the alcohol, but his eyes were like pools of blackness, like real strange. And he also said to me, you blow this horn, baby, you'll wake the dead.
And you thought it was a good idea. You know what? Never mind. She'll stay.
It's a saying, if you blow the horn, it'll wake the dead. But apparently, this one actually does wake the dead.
It's a horn for some kind of skin. I don't think that this horn should, all likelihood, be able to play normally. Right? I mean, does this look like a normal horn to you, Leroy, compared to the other horns?
I mean, it is a very unique horn, yes. I've never seen anything like it. But when I play, baby, don't I play.
Yes, we've seen that.
With his other hand, he reaches out with the drink and takes a sip.
Perry, I feel like he has the horn of the devil himself.
He's a horny devil?
No, he has the horn of the Perry.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't think we can let you keep this horn, Leroy. It's got some bad mojo about it.
You ain't taking it off me, sir. This is my trumpet.
What do you intend to do with this? I mean, you've seen how the damage that it's causing.
And he takes the trumpet and he starts to stand up.
Oh.
I think this conversation is over. I don't like where this is going. And he starts to leave.
Can I make? Oh, I kind of want to hit him. Kind of want to hit him.
Loki was thinking like I want to grab his hand and have one of you guys like attack.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to grab his hand and I'll go to hit him? I mean, I don't know that we should be planning this out, but
Seeing him get up and start walking away, I'd pull out my gun and try to clock him on the back of the head with it.
I'm gonna try and punch him. But I mean, if I see you pull out your gun, I'm probably gonna try and punch you because I don't want you shooting people in the bar.
The moment you pull out the gun, Perry, the owner of the bar and the people around you start screaming, "Gun!"
Oh
And
no!
Leroy books it.
I'm going to punch. Oh, I so want to punch Perry.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna race after him and I'm gonna clock him with the gun. He is not.
I would have liked to have punched someone.
And if he starts getting too far away, he's gonna get shot.
I would have reached out to try to punch Leroy. My brain freeze for a minute. But if he got away, he got away.
All right, so Perry, you're gonna attempt to leave the building in pursuit of Leroy. You will see two people come towards you to try and disarm you.
Flash my bureau badge and say, "Get the hell out of the way, or you're next."
They kind of look at it for a moment just to try and ascertain if it's like a legit badge or not. But they know better and just kind of step away. And by the time you get out of the door, you've already seen Leroy turning a corner as he has had enough time to get a little bit of a head start on you.
Would we be running? Ursula, what are you doing? Are you getting up? Because if you get up to run, I'll get up to run.
Yeah, as Ursula would grab onto you and just start beelining for the door. This is the second speakeasy that she's going to be called in. She doesn't want to be called again. She's worried about how this will affect her name and if this got out there, how it would affect her reputation. She just wants out.
Where are we going? I'm saying as we're running.
I don't know, but we're going.
Are we going after Leroy?
We're going somewhere. I don't know. Come on. And she'll just keep running, trying to push her way through out the door.
I guess we're following Mr. Mason.
We're following Mr. Mason.
Okay. And Mr. Mason, what are you doing?
So he's gone around a corner. I'm going to stick my head around the corner if I can see him. I'm going to judge to see how far he is. If he's too far away, I'm going to turn around, wait for the girls and say, "We've got to go find out where he lives."
The moment is your full body in the corner, or is it sort of like you're peeking around?
Just sticking my head around.
Yep.
To see him.
So the moment you stick your head around the corner, you see Leroy just running. And within seconds, you see a grey Packard suddenly pulls over. Two white men, dressed in suits, sort of like that. You get the feeling that it's that gangster kind of outfit. One of them they just both grab Leroy and they drag him in towards the Packard. And once he's inside the Packard, it starts to drive off at speed.
Does it have any markings on it? Like being that it's a truck, it would normally have like a business logo or something on it?
From what you can see, there are no markings, no business markings, no signage, and there is also no number plates.
Taxi.